Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Yeah, I know this video is kind of late today, right? At least I remember to do it. So this Tuesday we're going to talk more about Power Rangers like we do every Tuesday, and we're going to talk about Six Rangers. What is a Six Ranger? Well, in a broad term, Six Rangers are the sixth member of a Ranger team. So it's 6 Ranger. Normally, I'll get into that in a second. Anyways, the Six Ranger is Ranger number 6 on a Power Ranger team, where a lot of times what is just usually kind of characteristic about them is they have different costumes. Their Ranger form is different than the other Rangers, and they have different powers, and they have a different kind of probably usually different kind of morpher or morphing call, but it varies season to season. And their Zords may sometimes be artillery Zords that it can attach on to the actual Megazord that the team uses, or maybe it's able to form its own Megazord. So they have their own Zords too. So there are not all Six Rangers are alike. There are some Six Rangers that don't really fit the mold I described, like Zane, the Silver Ranger in Power Rangers in Space. The Silver Astro Ranger, he has the same type of morpher and the same morphing call and even the same type of costume that all the other Rangers have, so he's not a good example. But a good example would probably be like Antonio from Power Ranger Samurai. He has a completely different morpher and morphing call, and his power works differently, and he's a whole different kind of Ranger. They might have pieces of it, like Mercury, the Mercury Ranger from the Mercury Ranger, Tyzon from Power Rangers Operation Overdrive. He has the same morphing call as his team, but he has a different uniform. So does the Lunar Wolf Ranger from Power Rangers Wild Force. So it varies, I guess, from team to team, but generally that's kind of the mode that fits. Like I said, Six Ranger is usually Ranger number 6, hence the name Six Ranger. Six Ranger was actually a term that wasn't canon until Power Rangers Super Mega Force, when they actually used that term on the show. But the term has been used for many years to describe Ranger number 6, which it's not actually always Ranger number 6. Sometimes, and the only case I can think of was in Power Rangers Dino Thunder, where the 5th Ranger on their team, Trent, was the 6th Ranger. He is a canon 6th Ranger. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's because Tommy Oliver's on his team. I guess when Tommy Oliver's on your team, you can defy all the laws of counting. But, they don't know how to count, so yeah, Trent is a 6th Ranger, even though I love Trent's character so much, but I don't think he should be considered a 6th Ranger because he is not actually 6. There aren't even actually 6 Rangers on his team. There are only 5, but what he can do about it? There are, I want to say, 15 canon 6th Rangers. Not all teams have 6. Some do, some don't. It's usually 6 Rangers are usually more common on teams that start out with 5. If you start out with 5 Rangers on a team, there's a good chance you're going to go up to 6, and then even like 7 or 8 in the end. If you start out with 3 Rangers, you're actually more likely to end with 5. The only time a team of 3 Rangers moved up to 6 was in Ninja Storm, where you had the 3 Wind Ninjas, and then you got the Thunder Ninjas, and then you had Cam, which was the Green Samurai Ranger, who was their 6th, and he is also a 6 Ranger. Something else I should tell you about is, through my years of watching Power Rangers, I have come up with this term that I like to call 6 Ranger Syndrome. What is it? Well, it's a case where I find where apparently the writers just don't like the 6th Ranger, because they're not in the battle and there is absolutely no explanation as to why they are not there, and if there is an explanation, it's a really stupid one that doesn't even make sense, or is what I consider detrimental to the character of the 6th Ranger, or they get like a really stupid plot line that is like detrimental to their character. A lot of 6 Rangers suffer from 6 Ranger Syndrome. It's a big problem. The worst case of it, I think, was actually where I actually coined the term, was in Power Ranger Samurai, where Antonio, literally the Gold Ranger, he was just 6 Ranger Syndrome all over the place. Not even poor Tommy Oliver, Power Ranger Legend, was immune to it. I mean, there were times when Rangers were fighting, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, let's call Tommy. Like, you couldn't have called Tommy before. Is he not a member of your team? Like, stuff like losing their morphers or not hearing their morphers go off that they use for an excuse, like, that's a stupid excuse. Like, to me, a Power Ranger would never misplace their morpher. You're protecting the world. You're saving people's lives. If you don't do your job, millions of people are gonna die. You don't misplace a morpher. It doesn't happen. So, I think that's a stupid excuse, and not hearing it go off is also a stupid excuse, because that goes hand in hand with losing it. So this has been a quick tutorial on the Sixth Rangers. Sixth Rangers are incredibly awesome. Sixth Ranger Syndrome, it's one of my many rants. You're gonna love all my rants. Sixth Ranger Syndrome is, yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing I made up, though. I think that's actually all there is to Sixth Rangers. There's not really a lot to them, but they're very special Rangers. Sixth Rangers, there's actually a lot of Rangers who are technically considered silvers. Not a lot of golds. I think there's like 3 golds. 4, technically, if you count Jason, but there's only 3 gold powers. Canonly, I don't think Solaris Knight is considered a Sixth Ranger. And there are some unofficial Sixth Rangers, like Magna Defender from Lost Galaxies, considered an honorary Sixth Ranger, even though he's not really considered one canonly. So yeah, those are the Sixth Rangers. Next week, we're going to talk about the girls on Power Rangers, because my film club teacher actually really wants to see the video I'm going to make about girls. So next week we're going to talk about the girls on Power Rangers, because there's a lot that needs to be said. I'll see you guys next week, and may the power protect you.